Hello, my name is Sylvia and welcome to my YouTube channel La Bella Lingua, and I actually have a website called labellalingua.org, and so I'd like to give you some context and just to introduce myself and to speak a little bit about how I met Italian and how Italian met me. And so, as you can see, biologically, I'm not Italian. I don't have a drop of Italian blood. I'm Korean, but I was born in Canada. And as a child, though, I took piano and flute lessons in order to pass exams through the Royal Conservatory of Music. And so, the first Italian words that I heard were like piano, forte, and crescendo. So, my first contact with the Italian language was through classical music. And later on, I would eat Italian food and other things, but the strongest point of contact, I would say, was classical music. And then in 2016, I was living in Montreal, doing some grad studies, and after I had to move out of the residence, and I lived with my sister for a few months. And so I had become Catholic in 2015, and I wanted to go to daily mass. And so I moved in with my sister, and I found there was a church nearby, and they did offer daily mass, but the difficulty was that the mass was offered only in Italian. So then I decided, well, if I want to go to daily mass, the nearest church only has mass in Italian, then I'm going to have to learn Italian. And so I remember going to mass. It was really funny. Like, the priest was so animated and his gestures, and I loved the sound of the language, even though I didn't understand anything he was saying. It was just great. And then the priest gave me an Italian missal, which is basically an Italian book that has all the readings of the church, the liturgy basically, so what will be read during the mass, and then a bunch of sermons as well. And then I also discovered Pope Francis, because up until then, yes, I had become Catholic, but I didn't know that Italian was the working language of the Vatican. And then so from 2016 until 2022, I had my Italian learning project, let's say. So I took classes at Dante Alighieri. I also took classes verbling. I took the Plida B1. I took the Plida C1, and I also took the Cedils. So it was a long journey, but it was just quite beautiful, fulfilling, difficult. And through this YouTube channel, I would like to share some things that I learned that can be of help to you as a learner of Italian. So then, as an adult, I rediscovered singing alongside the Italian lessons. So I already play the flute and the piano, and then I don't know why I discovered singing. Maybe I was listening to music and the beauty of it just pulled me in. I don't know. So I started to teach myself how to sing, and then that's when I realized that the words from my childhood, like piano, forte, and crescendo, they don't just mean like the direct translations. Like, piano doesn't just mean soft, and forte just doesn't mean loud, and crescendo doesn't just mean get louder, but piano also means, like when we say in Italian, di andare piano piano, it means gently, or to do something gently, right? And then forte, it also means strong, not only loud. And then crescendo, which comes from the verb crescere, which means to grow. And then when you say something is ando or endo, it's like saying something is growing. So crescendo is literally growing. You need to grow the music. It's not only about getting louder. So I thought that was quite beautiful. It kind of helped integrate what I learned as a child and the part that's tied to music, classical music, with language, and then it helped me, I guess, to grow also as a musician, and also because I discovered singing, which was a whole other aspect. So I loved how the Italian reintroduced me to classical music, but it also reintroduced me to myself. One thing that was really funny is my name is Sylvia, but with a Y. And when I was learning Italian, my Italian teachers, they would always misspell my name with an I. And later I realized, oh, it's because in Mediterranean countries, they write Sylvia with an I and not a Y. And so, but because I am Anglophone, my name is written with a Y. And then Sylvia means from the forest. And my last name, because ethnically I am Korean, my last name comes from Gangneung, the city of Gangneung in South Korea. And so I lived in Gangwon province for 5 years, and I remember visiting Gangneung. It's a beautiful city on the east coast, and I would take the bus, and once you enter the city, you would see these pine trees, and you can smell them as well. And I remember that image with the city, and the pine tree is actually one of the main symbols of the city of Gangneung. So I really related to, okay, the pine trees, that's where my last name comes from. And then later thinking about, oh, well, my first name is Sylvia, which means from the forest, and then my last name, it's from Gangneung, and it's from the pine trees. So then in one way, my name, it means the one from the pine trees, or the one from the forest of pine trees. Well, that's how I decided to put the meanings together, and in the end, that's what gives me meaning, and it gave me some kind of unity for my identity, because yes, I am Korean biologically, but I am not Korean culturally, and yes, I am Anglophone, but I'm not Anglo-Saxon, like biologically. And so tying these two things, my first name and my last name, but tying it through the Latin, which is what Sylvia means and from the forest means, right? And the Latin is, I guess, what's central, because from the Latin, that's where we got the Italian. And so, and also what's Latin reminds me of what's Roman Catholic. And so in this beautiful way, the Italian, it was also, it gave me an identity, and it kind of unified my identity, both my roots and also what's personal to me. And so that's how I met Italian, and that's how Italian met me, and that's why I love sharing things about this language, even though I'm not Italian. My last name, I have no Italian blood at all, and I've never lived in Italy, and I've never visited Italy, but this language and the beautiful experience of teaching it, of learning it, and of sharing it, I guess it's what's captivated me, and so that's what I would like to share with you through this channel. Thanks. Ciao.